There's new legislation out from Representative Bill Posey and Representative Derek Kilmer called the ASTEROIDS Act, and it is concerning the future and ever drawing closer reality of needing to drill and mine asteroids for resources, minerals, oil, and it is a very, very lucrative prospect. Potentially trillions of dollars hang in the balance, and it would the bill makes it look like, oh, this is great, it's securing American jobs and our economic future. But is it legal?
First of all, I want to point out that it is called the ASTEROIDS Act because it's the American Space Technology for Exploring Research Opportunities in Deep Space.
Yes.
Someone sat down and made that acronym.
They wanted it to be asteroids, and that's what they thought of. Definitely.
That's amazing. So
but
it's like shield and sword.
Yeah.
But when we go into the idea of you know, space law, it's a lot of it is it's murky because we don't really have precedents set forward, and there is language that we have to abide by from the UN and also other international treaties that say, well, for one, we can't, no nation can own or use a celestial body for their own purposes. But then, you know, different lawyers are getting involved in the case and wondering, you know, maybe that language can be interpreted other ways. What do you mean by use? What do you mean by celestial bodies? What constitutes either of these? And that's what's being argued the most.
So, as an amateur space lawyer, I think I can lend some insight into this. First of all, I think the person who wins the most here is Michael Bay. He is pitching a fit. He is so excited that he still owns this intellectual property of drillers on asteroids in space, Armageddon 2. It writes itself. That one's for free. But yeah, so basically the controversy is the UN has agreed nobody can own stuff in outer space, but then America's like, but there's all kinds of good stuff up there and we could take it because we're America.
Well,
So the lawyers come out and say, well, hey, nobody's going to own this asteroid. We're just going to take all the stuff out of it and use it. And what's an asteroid anyway? I don't mean, guys.
A celestial body is defined.
What does that even mean? Nobody knows.
Calm down, damn it. A celestial body is defined as, well, by some of these lawyers, as something that can't be moved. But if you prove that you can move something, and yes, there is a NASA project right now that could relocate asteroids, maybe it doesn't count as a celestial body, and maybe it isn't governed by those rules, those international rules, which means it is up prime for the taking. So does that mean that whoever has the strongest space programs will get is potential trillions of dollars worth of resources?
I think it comes down to, it's the same thing as what was happening like during the seafaring years, like that age. And everything I'm basing this off of is Sid Meier's Civilization, because that's what I, so.
Yes.
Source
right.
of that information.
But it's a space race, and so there are resources that are out there that are unavailable by third world countries or countries that we would normally get these resources from because we have the technology to be able to mine it. So we are finding another source and taking it away from
anyone else.
From anyone else. Yeah, and whether that's right or not, it's up for debate. And yeah.
Well, I mean, we want more space exploration. We want missions up there to go see this, and just like it has been throughout all of history, rich people that want stuff make that happen.
Yeah.
It's not like we were out sailing the ocean. I mean, we were sailing it just to map it.
Yeah.
But, you know, some rich person who wanted spices paid for that, sent them out there to go get it and figure it out, and that's what's happening today.
Yeah.
There's nice things on those asteroids. Well, we've never been to asteroids before. Well, I want them. Go get them.
Right.
All right, here's some money. Get it done, guys.
Yeah, and not only that, but they also provide platforms for reaching further into space than we could have before, because there are resources on asteroids on, say, like a trip to Mars or something like that, that would be, like, you couldn't do it without them. So you have, like, water sources or different things.
Do you feel this is an inevitable future as we grow more technologically advanced and more hungry for these minerals and resources? And do you feel it's justified?
Well, absolutely, and I think it's amazing that we're even having this conversation, you know, that we've come so far. Like, I love living in the future. That we're debating space law, like what constitutes a celestial body, from something that was written in like '67, where the concept of outer space was still kind of like a new thing. So now we've got to create these laws because we're actually getting out there and actually exploring things. And why haven't we invented the holodeck yet?
Okay, that's different.
The only thing that's going to stop, these companies wanting to go and gather minerals from these asteroids is if we no longer need those minerals. Like if technology advances beyond, oil, and we don't need oil anymore, and then we find oil on Mars, well, fuck that oil. We don't need it. We're better now. Everything's fine.
This will become a major obstacle in the UN, this debate of who was allowed to do what based on what rules? I think it will be.
I don't think it's going to stop anybody.
You think we're just going to do it anyway?
Yep.
We're going to break UN sanctions, and
we're going to be rich
old dicks.
I think the wording is vague enough, and I think there's enough monetary gain that the right people will interpret it the way they think it has to be to get it done.
Well, in the original treaty, too, it was the U.S., I think, was more specific of, like, you can't claim a celestial body. But then it was Russia that came back and said, no, 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 we need to include all of outer space in the treaty. So that's why it's so vague and like, anything that's outside of the atmosphere. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's already
really ironic. Well, 'cause at the time it was a different atmosphere of space programs. Yeah, in the real one.
It's out of this world.
Oh, wait a second.
Also, I want to point out that the Virginia-based DSI, one of the companies with their hat in the ring, said within the next 2 years it plans to launch a fleet of small Firefly spacecrafts, which is just the best way to get me on your side.
Right? Season 2.
They know the right buttons to push.
No, I don't think you're listening to the right rhetoric.
Manifest destiny, y'all.
Right? It's coming back.
Boy. I don't feel right about this.
My eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, babe.
I'm ending the segment now. All right, well, it is a debate that will become more and more important as we get closer and closer to making these decisions and arguing and international laws being broken or amended. We'll see. Let us know what you think about the Asteroids Act and if we should actually, as Americans, be allowed to do this, or maybe Russians, whoever has a robust space program, be allowed to claim these very, very rich resources as our own. Let us know what you think about all of this very complicated subject below in the comments, and please be sure to subscribe.